You have been working towards something for months, maybe longer, and the progress feels slow, like there is a gap between where you are and where you need to be, and you have been told the gap closes gradually, step by step, month by month, first this level, then the next, then maybe. Here is what nobody told you. The gap does not close gradually. It closes the moment your interior state changes, not eventually, the moment. This is not a modern idea. It is not quantum physics. It is not a new discovery. It was documented in 1912 by a man named Charles Haanel in a manuscript called The Master Key System, and what he wrote about the mechanics of instant change is more precise than anything the modern world has put in front of you. You have tried to close the gap with effort, more work, more action, more discipline, and something is still not moving at the speed you know is possible. That is not a failure of effort. That is effort directed at the wrong level. Haanel documented this in 1912. He called it the most common and most costly mistake a man can make, working at the level of effect while ignoring the level of cause. And once you understand what he meant, the gap between where you are and where you want to be looks completely different. Charles Haanel published The Master Key System in 1912, 24 weekly lessons, originally sent as correspondence lessons to a private group of businessmen, not sold in bookstores, not marketed to the public, passed between men who were using it to build real results in real businesses. Napoleon Hill credited it as one of the primary sources behind Think and Grow Rich. What Haanel documented in those 24 lessons was a single, precise mechanical principle. He called it the Law of Correspondence, as within so without, not as a spiritual phrase, as a law of physics. What exists in your interior state must, by law, appear in your exterior reality, not eventually, immediately. The source I am drawing from today, Haanel's original 24 lessons, is in the description. Free, but stay, because the mechanism is what changes everything. Here is what Haanel actually documented. Most people believe the sequence works like this. Change your circumstances, then your interior state will improve. Get the money, then feel secure. Get the relationship, then feel worthy. Get the result, then feel confident. Haanel said this sequence is completely backwards, and it is the reason most people spend their entire lives waiting for external circumstances to give them permission to feel different. The actual sequence, the one Haanel documented with mathematical precision, is this. Change the interior state. The exterior must follow, not might follow, not eventually follows, must follow, because the exterior world is not the cause, it is the effect, always, without exception. Haanel wrote in 1912, the world without is a reflection of the world within. What appears on the outside has its cause on the inside. Change the cause, and the effect is instant. Change the cause, and the effect is instant. He wrote that sentence in 1912. And it contains the entire teaching. Now here is what nobody explains about this principle, and this is going to feel like it contradicts what you just heard. It does not, but it will feel like it does. When Haanel says the change is instant, he does not mean your bank account changes the moment you feel wealthy. He means something more precise and more powerful. He means the cause changes instantly. The moment your interior state genuinely shifts, the moment your nervous system stops broadcasting the old frequency and starts broadcasting the new one, the field responds instantly. Not to your words, not to your visualizations, to your actual interior state. The gap between the cause changing and the effect appearing in physical reality exists. Haanel called it the lag of matter. Physical reality is dense. It takes time for matter to rearrange, for people to appear, for circumstances to shift, for the outer world to catch up with the inner world that already changed. But here is what is critical. The moment is already set the instant the interior shifts. The outcome is already determined. The physical world is simply catching up to a cause that has already been established. Haanel documented this with a specific analogy. He said, imagine a man who plants a seed. The moment the seed enters the soil, the tree is inevitable. Not probable, not possible, inevitable. The tree does not yet exist in physical form, but the cause has been set, and nothing in the physical world can prevent the effect. Your interior state is the seed. Your physical reality is the tree. The moment the seed changes, the tree is already inevitable. You are not waiting for the result. You are waiting for matter to catch up to a cause that is already done. Haanel documented 3 reasons. Most people never experience this. Reason 1, they change their words but not their state. They say the affirmations. They repeat the visualizations. But underneath the words, the nervous system is still broadcasting the old frequency. and the field responds to the nervous system, not the words. Haanel wrote, "A man may declare abundance with his mouth while his body holds the memory of scarcity. The field reads the body, not the declaration." Reason 2, they measure too early. The moment the cause is set, the physical world begins rearranging, but matter moves slowly, and most people look at the physical world 3 days after the cause changed and declare it did not work. They plant the seed and dig it up the next morning to check if it grew. Haanel called this the destruction of the inevitable. You cannot destroy the tree by doubting the seed, but you can destroy the cause by returning to the old interior state. Reason 3, they work at the level of effect. More action, more effort, more force. All directed at the physical world, the effect, while the cause remains unchanged. Haanel wrote, "No amount of rearranging the reflection will change the mirror. You must change what stands before it." 1912, St. Louis, Missouri. Charles Haanel is 48 years old. He runs a successful business empire, one he built not through inherited wealth or exceptional luck, but through a precise, deliberate application of the principle he would later document. He had spent 20 years watching two types of men who worked harder than anyone and produced less than most, and men who seemed to operate from a different level entirely, who attracted resources, opportunities, and people with what appeared to be effortless consistency. The difference, Haanel concluded, was not intelligence, not effort, not circumstance. It was the level at which each man operated. The first type operated at the level of effect, pushing, chasing, rearranging physical circumstances. The second type operated at the level of cause. They changed their interior state first, and watched the physical world arrange itself accordingly. Haanel spent 3 years documenting the precise mechanics of how this works. The 24 lessons he produced were the result of that documentation. He sent the first lesson in 1912. By lesson 12, the men receiving his correspondence were reporting changes in their businesses that their colleagues could not explain, not because something magical happened, because the cause had changed, and matter had simply caught up. The complete 24 lessons, exactly as Haanel wrote them, are in the link below, along with the specific sequence he documented for shifting the interior state at the level the field actually reads, not the surface level, the level underneath. The link in the description. It goes to the original source, Haanel, the master key system. All 24 lessons, not a summary, not an interpretation, the original, free. If something shifted while you were here, that is where it continues. Charles Haanel wrote one sentence at the end of lesson 1 that his early students copied by hand and kept on their desks. He wrote, "The man who grasps this principle does not chase his desired life. He becomes the cause of it, and causes do not wait, they produce. Instantly and inevitably. You have not been moving too slowly. You have been working at the wrong level. The level of cause, the interior state that determines everything, has been available to you since 1912. It is still there."